the flimsiest fossil evidence. From his studios near Toronto, Hall produces remarkably lifelike models for museums throughout North America. He's crafted over 100 dinosaur models, including the largest skeletal dinosaur mount in the world. When the Fernbank Museum of Natural History in Atlanta wanted a 37-meter-long Argentinosaurus, Hall Train was their go-to guy. And now Phil's giving him an even bigger challenge.
How big can you make a dinosaur? Can you do big things?
How big is that?
Well, from nose to tip of tail, around about 120 feet.
That's big. Yes, we can do that. Yeah, that's our specialty.
It's called a titanosaur. It spanned the length of 3 school buses and weighed over 100 tons. Phil found this enormous skeleton in Argentina truly inspirational.
Titanosaurs were the biggest known animals ever to walk on the Earth. As soon as I saw these bones, I knew I wanted to create a full-size model and cover it with lifelike skin.
Phil certainly has the technology. Called light detection and ranging, or LiDAR, the device uses pulses of laser light, rather like radar, to make ultra-fine measurements. Recording 500,000 data points per second, LiDAR sweeps the entire dinosaur to generate a precise 3-dimensional image. Phil captures the size, shape, and position of every bone and joint of the skeleton for Hall to work from. The process starts simply enough, sketching the approximate dimensions of the titanosaur based on Phil's data. But Phil wants to model more than just the bare bones. Fleshing out a skeleton of such epic proportions requires intricate planning, so they move from paper to pixels. Technology has transformed model making. In only a few hours, Hall has converted the LiDAR data into the first approximation of the titanosaur model. But without skin, Phil can't tell what the dinosaur really looked like. Until now, much of what artists draw is guesswork, because without skin, the colors and textures of dinosaurs are largely unknown. To uncover the secrets of skin, Phil gets fashion advice from a lemur.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That is wonderful. That is one of the finest hats I've seen this season. You're stunning. Oh!
This is a ball python. This is the nicest snake you'll ever see.
Karen Rosenthal sees a lot of animals in the flesh. She's director of special species medicine and surgery at the University of Pennsylvania.
When I see skin like this, I just think dinosaur.
Well, the interesting thing is the skin of this snake and the skin of our lemur is very much the same. The basic structure is the same. So it makes you wonder, is the basic structure of dinosaur skin the same as what we see today?
The outer layers may look different, but reptiles, birds, and mammals share a similar skin structure. The same 2 basic layers of skin cells generate an extraordinary variety of scales, feathers, and fur.
So if we're going to understand the comparison of the skins of these animals, hello. Well, let's compare this one for a start. I just hope it is a lemur.
It's a lemur.
All right.
So one of the interesting things is, because skin is so conserved between all the different animals, we can look at the skin and the way the structures are subtly different to tell something about where they live.
There's more to skin than what's on the surface. Now Phil wants a skin sample to reveal what his titanosaur really looked like, and to provide clues about the environment the dinosaur lived in. Unfortunately, Phil finds mainly bones, not skin, preserved in the rock. Fossilized dinosaur bones are big and hard, better able to withstand many millions of years of geology. But biology explains why skin usually disappears long before it can be set in stone. To demonstrate, Phil's in the kitchen, whipping up a couple of chicken dishes. The ingredients are simple. First, sprinkle some sand into a bucket. Add a chicken, and then carefully cover it with more sand. Pour in a generous splash of water, cover, and leave to marinate as you prepare the second recipe. Take a chicken, put it in a bucket. Voila! Now leave both birds outside, exposed to the air, and the bacteria, and the bugs. Skin doesn't last long in the wild. One dead animal can feed an army. This means Chef Phil Manning should have a nice surprise when he checks his buckets with his assistant cook, paleontologist Dino Frey.
Oh, gee,
How long is this rotting now?
too long. This is what happens when you leave a body above ground.
Oh, yes.
And, oh, the stench. It's disgusting.
Look here, maggots.
The chances of this thing getting into the fossil record are astoundingly slim.
And now for the second bucket.
This animal has been bathed in damp, soggy soil for about 2 weeks. Let's let him out slowly and see if we can see what's going on. Oh, jeez, bloody hell! No, look! Oh, wow! Oh, jeez, sorry.
That
was like,
that's
oh.
converted into a piece of cheese. The body is in a much better shape. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's a shape.
It's just the color.
It's a shape. It's gone black.
It's going black.
Oh, and it stinks. Right.
It's very soft and soupy, but you can feel the bones inside.
The bones are still
intact,
there.
Yeah.
It's warm.
Yeah.
God, it's really... So the decay...
It's fermenting.
Let's see what it really looks like before I add to the mess.
The experiment clearly shows that this holds much better.
It's
in
slowing
shape, yeah.
down the decay process. It's in an environment where the usual bugs and creepy crawlies can't get to it.
Even if skin gets quickly smothered in mud, it stands only a remote chance of surviving long enough to become a fossil. But only fossilized skin can tell Phil what his titanosaur model really looked like. Without more data, they can go no further, because titanosaurs were covered with astonishing amounts of skin.
Look at some animals today, 10% of body mass is skin. Let's be conservative and say 80 tons. That's 8 tons of skin you've got to sort of fit onto that skeleton. And of course that's going to be wrapped around all of these muscle groups, which are not preserved.
Fortunately, Phil has hatched a plan, several months in the making. He's negotiated to be the first scientist ever to apply forensic analysis on the ridiculously rare fossilized skin of a baby titanosaur. If he can find some.
I think it's time to get dirty with dinosaurs.
Welcome to the Badlands of Argentina. Paleontologists call this place Auca Mahuevo, after a local volcano, and the Spanish words for more eggs.
Hey.
Okay.
At last, Auca Mahuevo. I've been looking to get to this place for about 10 years.
Well, welcome to Auca Mahuevo, finally.
Phil's here with paleontologist Rodolfo Correa, whose team unearthed the world's largest land animal, the titanosaur, called Argentinosaurus.
Come on, let's not hang around. I want to go and see this.
Sometimes the biggest finds are really the smallest. This is the only place in the world to find well-preserved titanosaurs still inside their eggs.
You see them now?
Oh, yes.
Now we have to be very careful because it's very easy to step on them. So every time you see these accumulations of these gray things, those eggshells, it's indicating the presence of a nest.
Each nest holds the remains of up to 35 eggs, because 80 million years ago, this barren plateau was a maternity ward. Hundreds, if not thousands, of female titanosaurs gathered to lay clusters of eggs in a floodplain crossed by streams and rivers. When floodwaters smothered the nests, a soft layer of mud protected the eggs. Over millions of years, they became rock. Fragile, delicate, priceless rock.
My God. Incredible. Oh, I'm literally walking on eggshells. I never thought they would be so concentrated.
You see? There's another one, another one, another one, another.
This is a dinosaur shack fest.
But Phil can't cover his titanosaur with broken shells. To flesh out his model, he's after the stuff inside the eggs, and Rodolfo's just the man who can help him find it. In 1997, Rodolfo and his team picked up a fragment of shell with a tiny patch of skin stuck inside. The world's first sample of fossilized dinosaur embryo skin. Protected by the hard shell, the delicate fossil survived for 80 million years. So far, scientists have picked up 78 patches of fossilized skin at Auca Mahuevo.
You must have been just a little bit happy with yourself when you got this locality. Have you found something?
Skin.
Are you joking? Don't you dare. Don't do that to me. You're joking.
Skin.
Let's have a look. Bloody hell. Gorgeous. Give me some skin. Now that's fantastic. Oh, you can see it with the naked eye.
A sample like this holds the key to building realistic dinosaurs.
I think it's so funny that something as simple as skin might actually be one of the hardest things to finish off our reconstructions, because it's probably what we've got the least evidence of.
Thanks to Rodolfo Correa, Phil has his first glimpse of titanosaur skin. Now he has to get it out of the egg and onto his full-size model.
I like your office, Rodolfo.
Thank you.
It's very nice. Great views.
Thank you very much.
The view is even better back in Rodolfo's laboratory.
So what do you have hidden away in here?
This is something that I was looking to show you.
Oh, fantastic. Eggs.
So these are the skin, embryonic skin samples that we had collected from the Ocamahuevo locality.
Wow. Oh, I just turned it. Look, that is unbelievable. You can see individual scales.
Neat, isn't it?
It's like entering the world of the embryonic dinosaur.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Oh, yes. It adds depth and structure. It's like a miniature dinosaur handbag. It's beautiful.
But Rodolfo has another surprise.
Probably you could take these samples to your lab and try to see what we can get by the analysis, that biochemistry analysis of these samples.
This is the first time fossil dinosaur embryos will leave Argentina to be studied.
These are important fragments, critical to our story.
It's an unprecedented opportunity. Phil has the chance to really get inside the skin of a dinosaur using some sophisticated forensic gadgets.
I still can't believe I have 3 pieces of 80-million-year-old skin to play with. They are just what I needed to flesh out my dinosaur model. Because for the first time, I'll be able to get a 3D picture of titanosaur skin using a very expensive toy.
baby thing.
At Manchester University, Phil takes one of his precious skin samples into the high-resolution X-ray microtomography lab. It combines a super high-powered microscope and an industrial-powered CT scanner. It can produce some of the world's highest resolution images from a sample that fits on the head of a pin. Phil needs a three-dimensional image of the titanosaur skin, so Hall Train can create a replica for their life-size model. The machine treats the fossil like a rock star, snapping thousands of black and white X-ray photos from all possible angles. Then the computer assembles the photographs like a digital deck of cards into a single three-dimensional model. The high-res CT scans give Phil and scientist Paul Mummery possibly the world's first look at the structure of embryonic dino skin.
Here we've got the 3D rendering of the entire embryo skin sample, and you can see it just visually. You can see there's the scale structure on the surface. If we can spin that round, you can see it looks like the skin has split.
This parting in the skin, that could be one of the skin layers then from the embryo.
Yeah, I think there's a really good chance of that.
It's not so much getting under the skin of this dinosaur, we're literally getting inside it. We're looking at things that not even dinosaurs ever saw.
Phil's eager to use this data to start creating skin for his model titanosaur. Except for one small problem.
How thick is that? Can we measure across that surface there, the depth of the skin?
Yeah, sure.
It's just over 1 millimetre.
Yeah.
Is that just too tiny for Hall to work with? While Phil's been away scanning the sample from the dino embryo, Hall's been working on other projects covered with less problematic skin.
And they've got wonderful results. We've got three-dimensional dinosaur skin on an enormous scale.
Amazing.
2 millimeters.
2 millimeters won't cover much of an animal the size of 3 school buses, so Hall introduces Phil to technical director Andrew Trowbridge from the team at Arius 3D.
I've got some rather intriguing dinosaur skin here.
Hall collaborates with Andrew when he needs to resize his models, often on a heroic scale.
It would be really useful just to be able to hold a chunk of skin that size. It might tell us something more about what we might expect to see with a sauropod dinosaur skin.
Yeah, absolutely. We can output it to our rapid prototype machine, so we can scale it and then print it out at that size.
That is fantastic.
Like something from a Star Trek movie, a rapid prototype machine beams any 3D computer model into reality. It works like an inkjet printer, spraying layers of crazy glue 1/10 of a millimeter thick onto gypsum powder. Layer by layer, it builds an exact, solid replica of the virtual computer model. Hall Train puts it to work, building a scaled-up model of Phil's tiny fragment of titanosaur skin.
That is beautiful.
It's just like the embryo skin. I can really see this appearing in patches over an adult dinosaur, but
What I'd love to know is whether the skin from a baby would translate to what we see in an adult. Did they just simply scale up their scales from juvenile to adult?
With the rapid prototype machine, Phil supersized his 2 millimeter fragment of titanosaur skin 100 times bigger. It's now in proportion to the body of the adult and ready for Phil's model. But is the skin of a baby dino really the same as an adult? Or does it change as the dinosaur grows? To find out, Phil takes a look at the dinosaur's scaliest, scariest living relative.
Hello. No, I'm not lunch today. I know you'd like me to be lunch, but no.
This is Hercules. Oh, he's 400 kilograms of angry, armor-plated muscle and teeth. Phil decides discretion is the better part of valor, so he leaves the alligator wrestling to Greg Erickson, a paleobiologist from Florida State University.
You know, it's funny, people look at these things and, you know, they see a dinosaur, and they're like, well, I see a big alligator, and there is some dinosaur there, no doubt about it.
Phil can learn a lot about dino skin by looking at Hercules' incredibly tough hide. The outer layer of skin forms sturdy scales made of keratin, the same protein that forms our fingernails and hair. The inner layer is packed with plates of solid bone.
And what we find with alligators...
Now Phil takes a close look at the skin of a baby gator.
About a foot per year.
It's really hard to relate the size of this animal to this animal, knowing that they are the same species. It's tiny.
You can pour 4,000 of these into the body of an animal like this.
We're still a long way off from what you can see with a dinosaur, though. I just can't help but think, you know, these are big, but the dinosaurs were absolutely vast compared to this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah, that'll wake you up.
Hello, Hercules.
You get used to that after a while.
You get used to that.
Phil's seen enough. The baby and the adult look similar, but within the skin is a different story. So while Hercules moves to his new home, Phil's left with a problem. If he were building a model gator, there's no way he could cover an adult with the scaled-up skin of a baby. The adult Hercules wears huge plates of bony armor. But the gator embryo has no such plates. Phil's sample of embryonic titanosaur skin also lacks them. Besides soft skin, baby gators and baby titanosaurs have something else in common. After they hatched, they were vulnerable. So just like gators, titanosaurs changed their skin. As they grew, they built the distinctive bony plates that adorn the adults. Mother and baby wore completely different hides. For Phil, it's just too much of a stretch to cover his adult titanosaur with embryonic dinosaur skin.
Looking at what we've recovered so far in terms of data, whilst we have some fantastic images of it, I just think it's going to be a dinosaur too far, trying to reconstruct a full-size replica of our friend the titanosaur.
The gators convinced Phil that he can't make a scientifically accurate model of a full-grown titanosaur based on the skin of an embryo.